Hi everybody, how are you guys? Yeah, I'm doing good, and I hope to be seeing lots of you joining me on this fantastic topic, which is called happiness. And what are your programs that are running your happiness quotient for you, right? So, yes, Sharon, I'm on. Just come on board. Right. So, what are the programs that are running your happiness? Who is it who kind of decides you're happy? Do you decide, or is it somebody else who decides what is happiness for you? Right. So, we've looked at various programs that kind of run us and run our lives. There are mummy programs, there are papa programs, there are school programs, there are programs which are from our cultures, there are programs that you pick up from the society around us, there are programs that you pick up from from the corporate organizations, right? All the marketing material that comes out and it's thrown at us all the time, right? So so the thing is that how do you then decide what is happiness for you? Okay, so one of the things when I was growing up was that I just didn't think twice about not being happy. Okay, and then as I started growing up, a lot of people would tell me, what is this, you're always happy? And somewhere I bought this point of view that, hey, you know what, maybe being happy was not right, because if you look around yourself, how many people are truly choosing to be happy, isn't it? So if you remember, we had spoken about hi Anna, how are you? It's good to see you. So, and I'm very happy to be with you again today. So so we were talking about the lizard brain, the primitive brain, right? So the primitive brain basically has been designed to go into what is called a negativity bias, right? What this means is that it's a thing that we are trained to think negatively, or we're trained to think about the worst situation. Okay, so so we get into a fight or a flight mode, right? Either we'll stay and fight, or we will run away. Either way, there is stress that gets created. And when stress gets created, what happens to us is our gut gets affected, which affects our brain. Okay, and that is where all the chemical imbalances start taking place, right? So it is your gut that gets affected, which affects your brain, where the chemical imbalances happen. Now, the moment you and your brain obviously gets a signal that, hey, you know what, it's not safe, don't be happy, and it goes into that thought process of, oh my god, if this is going to happen, then what is going to happen, and then what's going to happen, and so on and so forth, right? So if we just step at that moment and say, what am I doing here? Okay, what are my choices here? Am I choosing to behave like, hi Gaetano, how are you? Am I choosing to behave like my primitive brain is wanting me to behave? Or do I overcome and say, you know what, I'm going to be happy, isn't it? So what are the programs that are running me here? There is a primitive program that's running me, which I've got from, years of conditioning through my society, through my cultures, etc., etc. Or can I then make a difference and say, look at a different possibility and say, hey, you know what, I'm choosing to be happy here, right? So there are multiple things that we can do when we are choosing to be happy. Firstly is, of course, you just look at your situation and you say, who am I being here, right? Who am I being here? Am I being a defeatist? Okay, am I being someone who's giving into a challenge, or am I looking at possibilities that are coming out of here? Okay, now the beauty about the possibility is that if you just take a moment and you look at what happens to the little children, how many of us have actually seen little children spending more than a minute being unhappy? There's always a reason for them to look around, go from one place to the other place being happy, isn't it? right? So they don't sit and they don't dwell. Even if they cry, it's purely to get attention to them, isn't it? Right? So, and you could have noticed a lot of young kids will cry and they go, they start making faces, and they're actually having fun even in crying. Okay, whereas when we grow up, okay, we actually buy that crying is true and real. And there's nothing wrong in crying, okay? It is fine. That's also one emotion. But to stay in that energy, okay, is where the problem actually arises, okay? Because what you're doing is you're signaling your brain, and you're giving more and more evidence to your brain that this is the situation which is true and real, and the brain is going to just be on an auto run, and it's going to get you more and more information that this is the situation. So you are actually caught in that, into that loop out of which you just can't get out, right? So you've seen the figure 8, the infinity loop, right? So you're just going round and round and round and round in circles. So here you are trying to, in that situation, and you are giving a signal to your brain, I'm in this situation, and the brain is like taking that information and running around in circles and saying, you know what, yes, you are in this situation. Okay, now what is also helping that brain create that situation is the entire chemical imbalance that is taking place because you are in that stressful situation, right? Now, how do we break out of this? There are simple steps that we can take to break out of it. Like I said, first of all, quickly stand up and say, who am I being here, right? Once you have said, who am I being here, it actually takes you out of that situation of you becoming a victim to you being able to take a proactive step. Okay, now, so the moment you say, who am I being here, you are actually telling yourself, oh, okay, cool, I'm being this person who's completely like, oh my God, types, right? Which is also fine, right? Because you are not going to be judging yourself. So that's the next thing. Stop judging yourself. Okay, stop making yourself wrong for being this, oh my God, type of a person, which is fine. You can be the drama queen. It's brilliant, absolutely, right? But you might just be enjoying that, but that might just be your stress buster. Okay, but recognize that you're being that. And do it with a full awareness, with a total awareness that you are being that, right? Otherwise, it would just go into a situation where you start becoming a victim of your circumstance and your happiness just goes out of the window. Because you're not being you. And when you are not being you, can you truly be happy? Okay, so what is being you? Okay, being you could just be whoever you are comfortable with, but with complete awareness. So there is no certain format, okay, that is given to you, that you have to adhere to the moment you say, I'm being me, I'm being me, I'm being me. Okay, if I don't have a program that's running who I should be, I can choose to be whoever I choose to be. And then I know I have all of these options available to me. Cool? So if I have all of these options available to me, so in this instance, if I want to be a drama queen, I can be a drama queen. But the next instance, I can choose to be something different. And that is where the happiness is, because you are jumping from a state to the next state and you're living life completely aware and fully conscious of the consequences of your own actions. And when you are in that space where you are taking responsibility for your own life, okay, can it ever be a situation where you're going to be blaming somebody else? No. You are then going to say, hey, you know what? If I am responsible for being in this position, I only have myself to answer. Now, if I have put myself in this position, then I also have the choice to pull myself out. So what am I doing? I am not making somebody else responsible for my well-being, but I am taking complete charge and onus of my own life. Make sense? So no more sitting and dwelling on what could be, what should have been, what can be. Rather you say, okay, what is to be? And what is it that I can be in this moment? Yeah? So the moment you say, okay, what are my choices here? What can I be in this moment? It actually opens up a whole vast world for you to be whoever you wish to be. So it could, I'll give you an example. So about 4 years back, I'd gone to a bank, okay? And this was late at night, and this was while I was in Dubai. And so I went into a bank, and I had my own business, okay? I had a very successful business. And so I was by no means a person who didn't understand technology. I was by no means a person who didn't understand banking, etc., etc. Okay, but in that moment, when I went there, I pretended to be, or I wouldn't say pretended, but I became this old lady who needed help. Because at that moment, I really required help. And I had this person who actually came by my side and assisted me, thinking that I was this poor old lady who couldn't do something on her own. So in that moment, it helped me to just acknowledge that I could be that as well and not fight it out. So if I didn't have to defend my not being old or my being old, then I could choose to be even that. Right? So how much are we defending against being something? Okay, or how much are we defending for being something? And if we didn't have to defend anything, what would our life be? We'd then be just flowing freely, isn't it? And there will be nothing that is going to be stopping us. So what are your programs that are running your life and stopping you from being happy? Okay, so have you decided that you can only be happy when? Okay, so I want you to take a moment and contemplate on this. I will be happy when, and list down everything that's showing up. Okay, so who is responsible for your happiness there? That event, isn't it? Or that particular person? Or that particular situation? So you're actually putting your happiness outside of you. And the moment you're putting happiness outside of you, guess what do you have to do? You have to run behind your happiness. Right? So you have to run behind your happiness, and the more you run behind it, the more you're putting it outside of you, and the more you're running behind it. So it's still going into that vicious circle where happiness is going ahead, you're running behind happiness, and you're making happiness just, yes, sure, please just go right ahead and ask me a question. So you're making happiness outside of you, isn't it? What if you realized that it is your response to that particular situation, and it is your choice to be happy no matter what? Happiness will come inside of you again. Don't have to run behind happiness. Okay? Anna, yes, if you ask this question, you'll get some awareness. Okay? And then you have to ask some more questions. Okay? So is that making your happiness outside of you, or is that making your happiness within you? Okay? My next question to everybody is, how do you express happiness? Right? So some people say, oh, you have to be laughing all the time. Okay, I've had a lot of people telling me, you're not happy, you don't laugh, you just smile, why can't you laugh? And for a very long time, I used to have this complex that I cannot laugh loudly. Okay, at one point, I even thought of seeing a therapist just to see why is it that I cannot laugh. Okay, people have called me, you're super depressive, you always have this, like you just go through life without being happy. Then I started questioning, okay, what is happiness to me? Isn't it? So, is laughing all the time happiness to me? I tried that. I couldn't. I would just go into a cough, and eventually I did some breathing exercise. I overcame that. Okay. Then I realized that to me, happiness was just being peaceful and just serene. But that is for me. For someone else, it could just be that they have to laugh. There is no right or wrong answer, my friends. It is just what is true and real for you. And the reason I'm sharing this example is because we are always given a structure by this society that only if you are this can you be this. And I'm actually inviting you to look at those structures and start questioning those structures so that they can start melting away little by little. Make sense? If it makes sense, let me know. Type in your answers. Okay? So I'm just assuming it makes sense to all of you. Right? So if happiness is what you decide happiness is, then how do you decide what happiness is? Are there certain parameters that you could be looking at which actually tell you, okay, this could be happy? All right. So how do we go about it? So I'm going to get you to do a small little exercise. So just sit down, close your eyes, relax. Take a deep breath in and relax. Let every muscle of your body be totally relaxed. Take another deep breath in and relax. Now let your memory go back to when you were a child. You're laughing, you're joking, you're running around, you're playing. Let that memory come up. Let it surface. Look at everything that makes you happy as that child. Take another deep breath in and let the memory open up even more. So what is it that makes you happy as that child? Take another deep breath in. And gently open your eyes and make a note of all those things. Okay? Like Anna's saying, she loves to walk every day. And when she comes back home, she's at peace. Great. Isn't it? For me, I love multiple things. I like cooking. I like writing. Okay? I also love sitting and meditating or contemplating. So it can be multiple things. It can be different things for different people. So I want you to do this exercise again, okay, after this call, and sit down and make a list of at least 10 to 12 different things that make you happy. Simple things that made you happy as a child. Like it could just be a walk, for example. Okay? It could just be looking out of your window and watching the sun go by, watching the clouds go by, watching the birds go by, or just listen to the birds chirping. Right? It can be multiple things. It could just be sleeping. It could just be going in the shower and having a shower. All right? So now that you have this list of 10 to 12 things which really make you happy, the next step would be to to start putting at least 3 of these things every day into place. Okay? So it could just be, oh, today I'd like to get up and go for a walk. Or maybe I'll just go and dance for about 15 minutes. Okay? That's it. That's it. Okay? It could just be, just for this 5 minutes, I'm going to just close my eyes and just deep breathe. Okay? Or it could just be, just for this moment, I'm truly going to enjoy that bar of chocolate and not feel any guilt about it. Yeah? So it can be multiple things, Sharon. Certain things may not be completely possible, but yes, whatever it can be. So just see that energy, just go deeper into it. What were you doing at that moment? Okay? Who were you being at that moment? Did you have expectations? So when you have your parents around, there is a sense of security that you have, and you know that you'll always be taken care of. Okay? Can you then look at that energy and just imagine that energy of security and of surety is there in front of you, and just pull it out and just breathe it in and let it fill every single pore of your body and your being. And just enjoy. Right? So it can just be anything. So pick these 3 things up, all right, out of these 12 things, and add it every single day. So add 3 things to your life. Okay? You can do it every 2 days. So for 2 days, you can do the same thing. Or you can do it every day. It's completely your choice. Okay? Do it for a week to 10 days and see what shifts for you. At the end of the day, please sit down for 5 minutes and make a note of what really happened. And where were you choosing to be really happy? And I can tell you one thing. In your saddest moment, if you just sit for 5 minutes and do this happiness exercise, see the switch that's going to happen. So it is, where are you focusing? Okay, what happens is, what is focus? It's a concentrated energy that you're putting on in one particular direction, isn't it? Right? So where are you putting your energy? You're putting your energy on not being happy, or are you choosing to focus away from that and put your energy into being happy? Whose choice is it? Nobody's going to come and put a gun to your head and say, oh no, now you can't do this, do it. Do this. Okay? So it's your own choice. And the tools are right here with you. So make a list of those 12 things that truly make you happy, and start incorporating those little by little, little by little, little by little. And become very aware. Every time you're just floundering and you feel that, oh, I'm getting stressed out, just sit back, use one of those things, and just do it. Just do that. Like I said, it could just be for that moment you choose to enjoy that chocolate, okay, or that piece of cheese or that fruit, and just enjoy it. So at that moment when you're enjoying it, I want you to concentrate totally on food, on that morsel. So when you take it in your mouth, first you smell it, and feel it filling up your intestines, your cells, the whole body, right? And then you ingest it, then chew it, let the taste burst in your mouth, and then let the energy go through every single pore of your body. Okay? Just be very present and see the shift that happens. It is, like you said rightly, Miss Fontana, happiness comes from the simplest things in life. Okay? Which brings me to the program, which actually is run by the corporate organizations, that happiness can only come from buying expensive things. So a certain holiday, okay, a certain kind of jewelry piece, a certain kind of perfume, a certain dress, isn't it? And it is only then can we be happy. So how much are we pushing our happiness away from us? Rather than recognizing happiness can just happen by just looking outside and being grateful. If I could just be grateful for that flower coming out, if I could just be grateful for the breeze that's blowing on my face, if I can just be grateful for that snowflake falling, isn't it? So just that gratitude, the expression of that gratitude can make us happy. Yeah. So yes, Anna, you can start with a week, and then once it becomes a habit, you please continue it. Okay. But at least a week will give you an idea of what's really shifting. So once you've done it for a week, I can tell you, you'll continue to do it. Okay, so list down 10 to 12 things, then look for more things. Look, the reason I'm asking you to list down 10 to 12 things is because our brains are still not trained. So once our brains are trained, you start looking for happiness in every moment, because you have given the command to your brain, hey, happiness is within us. We don't have to look outside. So the brain is going to look around and give you information on what really makes you happy. Okay, cool. So those are about the programs, and also start observing which program is running your life of happiness. Okay? Is it is, are you imitating your grandmother? Are you imitating your parent? Are you imitating your school teacher? So just look at it and say, oh wow, that's not me. That is someone who's completely outside of me. Then why am I choosing to be that? And why am I making my happiness dependent on that? Right? So please start observing how is it that you respond to happiness programs. Okay? Right? Also, another thing which I really want to quickly touch upon is happiness stealers. Okay, so there are situations and people, particularly around us, who are happiness stealers. Okay, if you're married, it could just be your spouse. If you're in a relationship, it could just be, your partner. Or it could be your children, or it could be your parents, or it could be that horrible person at office, okay? Or it could be the political leaders outside, okay? It can be your neighbor, it can be anyone, it can be your friend. So how do you know, okay, who are these happiness stealers? So there could be a person who actually comes up and tells you, hey, you know what? You're looking so beautiful. You're wearing such a lovely dress. Okay? Right? So, next time you wear a horrible dress, they'll still come and tell you, oh, you're looking so lovely. You're wearing such a lovely dress. So, if there is someone who's constantly praising you, watch out. Okay? Are these people trying to please you? Or are they willing to give you an honest feedback? Okay, so if they're trying to please you, chances are they're not your friends. If they're constantly trying to please you all the time, no, you're right, you're good, you're this, you're that. So if they are actually stopping in occasionally, okay, to give you a reality check, right? Those are the people you should actually be paying more attention to. So for me, I actually pay more attention to people who give me a feedback, which may not completely match what I believe, because it gives me an opportunity to look at another possibility. Okay, so it doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for people who are constantly giving me a feedback which matches my perceptions. Okay, I'm very grateful for that, but I don't put people who give me a feedback which does not match my perception, I don't put them down either. And how are we letting these people sap our energies, okay, and take the joy away from us? Why am I bringing this up? Because it is our own responses to situations as well as people, okay, which actually decides what is happiness for us. So if I'm going to sit and constantly crib about this person who's given me a feedback which is not matching my perception, and say, oh my God, they're being so horrible, they're being so terrible, okay, which state am I then existing in? Am I truly being happy, or am I just getting sucked into that? Isn't it? So if I'm getting sucked into it, I'm letting go of my energy and giving my power to someone outside of me. And why would I choose to do that? But if I look at it and I say, hey, I'm so grateful for that feedback, it's given me another perception, maybe another point of view. Maybe I can just look at it and see what's really going on there. It doesn't mean that you have to adopt their point of view as your point of view, but it is just something for you to be aware of and see, okay, cool, this is another tool in my toolkit. Tomorrow, maybe if I need it, I'm just going to use it. Okay? So, underlying all of this is also the judgments we have about people around us. This is good. This is a horrible person. They're being so bitchy to me. Okay, they're being so terrible to me. Or this person will always love me. This person always praises me. Okay? So, these are all judgments. I'd much rather be aware, okay, of people and what they are saying. Okay? And be grateful for that. So when someone asks me, oh, would you be happy or would you be aware? I'd say, you know what, I'd be aware. I'd rather be aware, because if I'm aware, I'm going to be happy. Does that make sense? Yeah? So I'd much rather be aware, because if I'm aware, I'm going to be happy because I'll know how to navigate my way through this world. Okay? So we are actually not, hi Nilofer, so we are not going to be looking outside of us for happiness. Okay? And the moment I'm completely aware of people around me, I have a choice. Like Sharon says, we have a choice. I have a choice to respond in a particular manner, isn't it? And not get my energy sucked by them or into their nonsense or into their story. Okay? So if my energy is completely intact, guess what? I can actually create wonders and magic in this world. Isn't it? Again, the magic is what I choose magic to be. Right? It is not dependent on what someone else thinks magic is. It's not like cha-ching, and I'm going to turn all of you into rabbit. Or cha-ching, I'm going to turn this into gold. No. It's just that I'm going to turn every situation that I go through into a possibility of exploring myself even further and of happiness. Yeah, absolutely. It sounds a little tough, but it is not. That's why you have to practice those 12 things for happiness. Yeah? The emotions are linked, and once you start doing that and you start looking at your programs and you start questioning, who am I being here? Whose program is running me here? Which program is running me here? You will start actually delinking yourself from these difficult situations. Okay? and things are going to open up for you, and you're going to be a lot easier. Things are going to be a lot easier. Okay, so currently, because you have all these emotions which are linked, what are you doing? You are swimming against the tide. Okay, but when you practice happiness, when you practice those three things every single day, what's going to happen is you're going to swim along with the tide. So the life is actually going to carry you into a fantastic journey of ease and bliss, where you actually are preserving your own energy. And then you can choose to say, hey, you know what? This is where I will step off and pitch my tent for some time and create my meal here. And then jump back into the river again and go on another journey. Or just choose to be there where you've pitched your tent and create something wonderful there. Life is then full of choices, but if you're just fighting and going upstream, what's going to happen? There's just one choice: survive. And worry, how am I going to go and raise my arm for the next stroke? Where is the next rock? Right? So then we are going into a survival mode. But if I actually just let go and enjoy happiness and really practice being happy no matter what, by just doing those few steps, then you'll see how easy life is. Right? So coming to your happiness stealers, it is your response to people which decides whether they are happiness stealers or not. Yeah. Maybe now you should start practicing happiness. I hope I got your name correct. So the thing is that you also look at, how am I responding to this person? How is this person affecting me? Is that the question to be asking, or should you be asking, how am I letting this person affect me? Okay, how is this person affecting me? Is the power is with the person. It is up to them the way they affect me. But if I say, oh, how am I letting this person affect me? Who has the choice and who has the power? I have the power and I have the choice. Because I am letting them affect me in a certain manner. Right? So if I'm not going to let them affect me in that particular manner, can they ever affect me? And they cannot affect me, and I won't let them affect in a certain manner, because I've realized, to me, being happy is important. So I just look at this happiness and say, oh, cool, happiness stealer. And I'm just letting them be a happiness stealer. So what can I be here? Yes, now is the time for peace and happiness and acceptance. True. Yeah. So it is always us who are the happiness stealers for ourselves. We let other people about what is happiness for us. But if we actually choose and we look at what is truly happiness for us, it's how much ownership and responsibility am I going to take of me? Am I willing to take of me? Am I willing to actually truly acknowledge myself as a fantastic being who has been put into this world to be happy? And the moment I do that, it's a baby, cradle baby, and you take care of a baby. How many of us truly take care of ourselves as that? We take care of everything else. Okay? So my next question to each one of you is, who does the universe, who does your universe start with? Who is a part of your universe? Okay? So, and just close your eyes and I'm going to ask you a question. Point the direction, okay, to me, where you are in your universe. Are you inside or are you outside? Okay? So, where are you in your universe? Inside or outside? Okay? Thank you. So, if you are inside your universe, who do you see first? Do you see yourself? Or do you see everybody else around you? Or are you seeing everybody from outside of your universe and there's everybody else? Your partners, your parents, your country, your children, your siblings, your friends. And if you are not part of that, if your universe is not starting with you and it's starting with everyone else, guess what? Who is responsible for your happiness? It's everybody else who's responsible for your happiness. Okay? And my question to you is, okay, if I go to a beggar who has no money and expect that they should give me $10, who's foolish? I'm being foolish, isn't it? It's not the beggar's fault. The poor beggar does not even have $10. I'm expecting them to give me that $10. Yeah? So here are a bunch of people who don't even know what happiness is. They're not confident of themselves. They're not self-believing think they are, or they appear to be, and we make them the source of our happiness. So are you being the sun in your life? Or are you living in someone else's reflected glory the way moon does? And there's nothing wrong in that, because moon has its own value. But who are you choosing to be? Are you willing to be the brightest star in your universe and truly be unstoppable? Or are you willing to, or are you choosing to give into the programs that are being run and become a puppet in the hands of others who are not masters of themselves, let alone guide you into a particular direction, which includes, by the way, a whole lot of these gurus as well. So always question, okay, who am I being here? What are my choices here? What more can I add to my life that's going to make me happy? Okay, if I'm going to add this, whose point of view is this? Is it truly real for me, or am I buying into somebody else's point of view? And if I'm going to wait to add this to my life, am I postponing my happiness? Right? So, if I'm going to be postponing my happiness, I'm postponing my happiness. I'm going to be someone else. Okay? So this is it. I mean, simple stuff. If you just